Did you know there's a way to make Scarlet Rot deal less damage to you? And I'm talking without any kind of items or buffs. Or how about the method to traverse that horrible platforming section down to the 3 fingers and do it with ease every single time in just 4 jumps? Well, in this video, I shall reveal these secrets and so many more that you hopefully don't already know. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we're going to look at 11 more things that you may have missed in Elden Ring. And I know you're probably thinking, really? The game's been out nearly 18 months now. Surely there can't be anything left. And to an extent, you're probably right. But if I can teach you at least one new thing in this video, or just entertain you for the next bit of time and unlock some forgotten knowledge about the game, then I'd say it's worth a watch. So, enough teasing, let's get into it. We're going to start with the hidden mechanic that I teased in the intro, and this is how you can take significantly reduced damage from Scarlet Rot if you're lacking any kind of cure like boluses or Flame Cleanse Me. It's a really simple method and one that can be implemented to help you traverse really long unsafe areas such as the Lake of Rot here. If you didn't know, when you get rotted whilst standing in the rot, it will deal more damage to you than if you're standing on land. And you may be thinking, well, obviously I'm not going to get rotted inland, I'm getting rotted because I'm standing in the rot. So all you need to do to pull this off is wait until your rot bar is nearly full and roll. Get the rot all over your body. Now get out of the rot and go and stand on land. Wait for that build up to max out and wait for the Scarlet Rot to take hold. You will now be suffering a lesser version of the Scarlet Rot, and you can use this to your advantage and sprint to your next destination, therefore saving a few of your precious healing flasks. It's obviously not ideal. Ideally go and grab Flame Cleanse Me, but I thought this was a really cool little interaction that probably not many people know about. Next is a fantastic early game helmet that is very easily missable. You will need to farm this and it does have quite a low drop chance, so ideally any way to raise your discovery is really going to help. The best place to farm is right here just south of the Saints Bridge site of Grace, right near where you first meet Iron Fist Alexander, and you are looking for the octopus head. This is obtained by killing the small land octopuses, not the giant ones, so you can ignore the big guy and just run around farming the little guys. There are 2 reasons that this is such a fantastic early game helm. Firstly, as the description says, it has insanely enhanced strike resistance, so it's going to be exceptionally good against any enemies that try and binky bonk you. But even more than that, it sits in a very unique weight class. I believe it's one of only 2 helmets in the game that weigh this much, most others weighing significantly more or significantly less. So it can really help to round out an early game build when you don't have many other options. It's a really good lightweight helm with fantastic stats, and it outclasses anything around this weight level. And what's better is if you are new to this game and if you are farming this early on, then you're going to get a few extra levels out of it as well by killing all the octopuses. They're easy to kill and it's a very chill farm whilst you're trying to work towards this helmet. Also, fun fact, it's as creepy as hell because it does slosh around as you're wearing it, and nothing in the description suggests that it's dead, so you could well be questing in the lands between with an octopus just chilling out on your head. Number 3 seems insanely obvious, but from my live streams I know that me and countless others did not know this information, so we cannot be alone. Let's say you're in this scenario, you've just killed a group of enemies, brilliant, now you have enough runes to level up. On the way, you open your map, you're like, oh, actually, where do I want to go next? Okay, gotcha. Now let's close the map, run to the site of Grace. We'll now level up, we'll exit the site of Grace, load up the map, boom, let's go. Did you know there is a much quicker way of doing this? You can load up the map whilst sat at a site of Grace. I told you it was simple, but oh my god, just imagine the amount of times you rest at a site of Grace, level up, cancel out of it, wait for your character to stand back up again, and then reopen the map. Add all of that up throughout your hundreds of hours of playtime. That is a lot of time wasted waiting for your character to fucking stand back up again. It blew my mind that you can open the map whilst resting at a site of Grace. And it's going to take a lot of getting used to, but I think it's a really good piece of information to know. Now, I admit that one was very minor, so let's give you something more juicy for tip number 4. For those of us that have been playing for a while now, you'll probably notice that sometimes your character is able to run through pools of poison, rivers of rot, even deep lava and water, yet sometimes you're not. And it stumped me for quite some time why this is the case. It's a really simple, really obvious answer, and it makes so much sense. The reason why sometimes you can sprint through rot and poison, etc., and sometimes you can't, is actually a very rare occasion of From Software being nice. Yes, I know, you're not dreaming. From Software can be nice sometimes. Basically, what's happening if you are playing a New Game Plus character, From Software have said, right, you've suffered enough, you've already had to traipse through this rot, you've already had to traipse through this poison, so now your character has made it to New Game Plus, we will give you the ability to just run through it, no matter the depth. And I was like, holy shit, FromSoft are nice sometimes? This was another fact that blew my mind. It took so long to figure out why sometimes my character was able to run and sometimes I was still trudging through and having to use the likes of Quick Step to be able to traverse some of these places. So, now you know. Next up, let me show you the most efficient way to get down to the three fingers without fail every single time. Obviously, once you've defeated Moog and you have got to this first plank, you can just run down and follow the stairs down for the first section. However, because I'm naked with no weapons, I don't want to get caught by one of the frenzied enemies, so I'm just going to drop down to the wooden plank below. From here, carefully jump down again, and that was the hardest part. It's now so easy to get down to the bottom. Head down this plank, come to the wall on your left, and just carefully drop down onto the grave below. I do get stuck on an invisible ledge there and have to make a jump. You can just very carefully walk off. Next, line yourself up with the wall, run forward, not sprint, just run, and roll when you're on the edge. That will drop you down here. Now, face back the other way, hugging the wall again, run and jump. Again, just run, don't sprint. And finally, just run off down here. Again, no sprinting and no rolling required, just run off. And that's it, you've done. Just follow the stairs down and you are there. Just a very quick recap because it really is so simple. Drop down both of the planks when you first enter the area. Hug the left wall and walk off onto the tomb below. Parallel to the wall, run and roll. Once you land on this one, do a 180 and run and jump. And now simply run off and there you are. You're done. 3. It is so simple and easy to do, and hopefully you will no longer have any problems getting down to the three fingers. And whilst we're down here, that leads me perfectly onto the next tip. Obviously, the flames on the ground here are where Hyetta would be if you've completed her quest line. From there, facing the south wall, you'll see I can go through the third pillar in. This is usually an illusionary wall. All you need to do is roll into it to reveal the passageway behind. As you're running down, there'll be a chest with an item you can grab. There'll be another illusionary wall, smash your way through that, and you will find yourself at the top of the deep root depths. You can now grab the root-facing cliff's Site of Grace, and you have a brand new way to access the deep root depths. Depending on your progress route through the game, you can now access this location earlier than ever before. It's a bit of a scary way down from here, but you can use Torrent. So if you're comfortable with his movements, then having the ability to double jump down here is really, really good. Now let's have a look at another very missable set of items. I'm talking about the set of 6 imp heads. 2 of them are lootable, being the imp head elder and the imp head corpse. However, the other 4 are very rare drops. You see me here farming for the imp head long-tongued, as it's the only one that my 100% playthrough character doesn't have yet. And this is the only area in the game where you can grab this one. All 6 of these helmets have pretty good stats, though they are quite heavy. But what sets them apart is every single one will give you +2 to a specific stat. In fact, there are only 8 stats in the game, and there are 6 imp heads, so the only 2 stats that cannot receive a buff from the imp heads are Vigor and Mind. And that leads me to believe that there may be 2 more imp heads coming in the DLC, one that will buff Vigor and one that will buff Mind, for a complete set of 8. As I say, 2 of these are just picked up, the other 4 need to be farmed, but it's a great set of helmets to have because each of them will complement your build in one way or another. Plus, Fashion Souls is always a plus, and they look ridiculous and amazing all at the same time. Next up, we're going to talk about a way to apply practically any status effect to any enemy using one arrow. The first thing you need to do is come here to Celia, the Town of Sorcery, and grab the red main painting. Once you've done that, come here to the Minor Erd tree in Caelid with the Putrid Avatar near Fort Faroth, and you want to make your way down to where there is an incredibly powerful stone golem. You are supposed to very cautiously jump down the very precarious stone beams and branches jutting out from the mountain. However, you can use this spirit spring and jump all the way down. I ended up having slightly too much momentum here, and I didn't manage to make it all the way down first time, but you can see exactly what was supposed to be achieved, so you can mirror this yourself. When you get down, be careful not to disturb the golem. There is no point killing him. What you're doing is coming to the artist here so you can loot the Rain of Arrows. The Rain of Arrows is insanely powerful, especially against big enemies. This Ash of War can melt the likes of the Fire Giant. You can easily apply rot and poison to him with just 1 or 2 arrows, because every rain of 20 or so arrows only consumes 1. You can use this on the Godskins to put them to sleep with just 1 arrow. You can bleed pretty much everything immediately. The possibilities are limitless with Rain of Arrows. It's such an underused Ash of War, and it really helps bows come into their own without having to use Radahn's bow, which is a conversation for another video. That could take Rain of Arrows to a whole other level, but that requires stupidly expensive ammunition, is very limited in ammunition, and requires great arrows. This is much more accessible, much cheaper, and incredibly good at dealing status effects. So give it a go the next time you want to use a ranged build. Next up, I should mention I've already done a part 1 of the rarest things in Elden Ring that you've probably missed, so that'll be down in the description, because last time one of the things on the list was just the whole of the consecrated snowfields. Because it's such a maze being covered in a snowstorm for 90% of the area, that it's very easy to miss a lot of things there. And likewise on this list, I am just putting the Lake of Rot. Now armed with your new knowledge of rot, hopefully you can go in and feel much more comfortable tackling the lake, because there are so many incredible items hidden off in every corner of this area. Loads of really high level smithing stones, and even more Aeonian butterflies, which are an incredibly rare resource. In fact, the only way to infinitely get Aeonian butterflies is to farm basilisks, and the drop rate is pitiful. So scour the Lake of Rot, grab all the goodies that it has to offer you. You will not be disappointed. Next up, we have got a pair of Stormhawk axes that are very easily missable. If you do want to complete every single NPC questline, please do not kill Nepheli. You can still get and dual wield 2 Stormhawk axes. And if you're wondering why this is important, I've done a video on it recently where I literally covered a Stormhawk axe build guide. So you can go and check that out if you want to show you the power of these weapons. Now that you know that they're worth looting, let's find out 2 really easy ways to grab them. Firstly, in Lanedale, in the fortified manor, from the ground floor here, you can literally open this door on your right, go through into the courtyard, avoiding the Virgin Abductors, and grab yourself your first Stormhawk axe. The next one is a little bit later in the game, in the mountaintops of the Giants. Specifically, it's in Castle Sol. You just have to make your way to this tower, avoid the exiles shooting at you with their giant ballista on the way, then you can hop on top of this structure, and over the wall on the balcony will be your second Stormhawk axe. I won't blather about them anymore in this video, that's not the point of it. If you want to see how powerful they are, go check out the build. But now, let's move on to the 11th and final point. As I was just talking about Nepheli Loux and the incredibly awesome quest she has, point number 11 is do all the NPC quest lines. I can almost guarantee there is one someone hasn't completed yet. Do you have both copies of Hoslow's Petal? If not, go finish Dialos's questline. Do you have the Shard of Alexander? If not, go finish Alexander's questline. Do you have the Dark Moon Greatsword? If not, go finish Rani's questline. There's so many incredibly good quests, all with insanely good quest rewards. If you finish Nepheli's combined with Kenneth and Gostock, you get access to 2 ancient dragon smithing stones. If there is even one questline you haven't done in this game, go and do it. Whether you play the game for the lore, whether you play the game for the gameplay, for the combat, for the mechanics, for the loot, there is always a reason to finish every single NPC questline. They are all truly stunning. I have videos to most of them on this channel, but any that I'm missing, I'm sure some other amazing YouTuber has already got me covered. And that is it for 11 more things you probably missed in your time with Elden Ring. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, my friends, all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.